I want to talk about my traumatic experience about removing some of these special keys. It's a bolt and they have a special key on it to remove the alloys. Now, to cut a long story short, I got all my tyres removed and replaced, and the person who put these back on, what he did was he must have used that gun to do all the bolts, including the key, which is supposed to hand tighten, but he didn't do that. He must have used a bolt. It's pretty much impossible to come off. This one tyre did come off. That took about 40 minutes worth of work. The garage person used the key, placed a key in there, then he put a bolt, and then he smashed it as hard as he could, and he kept on doing it for about 20 minutes, hoping that something would break or something would move inside. The seal would break, and if he could do that, then eventually he could get the key and obviously open it. Unfortunately, first time round the key broke. It's not that hard, the metal. It eventually broke. I had to get a replacement. That almost broke as well. As I said, 20 minutes later, he took a long time. He smashed the living pants out of the bolt, and eventually got it to open. So thankfully for that worked. Now the story is, I don't want to go back to him because we had a big argument about him breaking the key first time round. So I now have to try open it myself. So I thought, let me try opening it. It didn't work, and I know if you just use the force of the spanner of the toolkit, whatever it is, the key will slip, and if it keeps on slipping, it's just going to break. So this is what I came up with. Put the car next to the wall, put the key in, and then you've got obviously the lever, extend it. And then what I did was, I spent at least 2.5 hours on this. I've done different methods and none of them worked. I think so far this is the only one that's worked, and it has worked because obviously I tested it out. So I put this here, and then I got this, which is the jack, and I opened them up, and I put so much pressure on it, so it's now pushing against it, so it definitely can't come out. If you try moving it, you won't be able to move it. This is just for testing purposes, because I actually have done it. I just put it back on to make this video. So I did it so tight that this did not move, and this is pushing against this, which was pushing against this, so generally it was really tight. And I stood on it and it moved and it worked. And as I said, it took me 2.5 hours. I tried loads of different methods. This is the only one that worked. Let me quickly show you what the key looks like. This is the key, and if I focus on it properly, you'll see that it is actually broken slightly. It's on the verge of breaking, and if you just do it normally, which is this method, put it in there. First of all, as you can see, it's loose. Even though it's in there, it's loose. That's the most annoying part. As a result, the key isn't that solid. So as this is not solid, it moves. When you put this in and try moving it, you can see it's not solid. It moves. It's ridiculous. As a result, it's not a real key. It's just something that just goes inside and it's loose. It's a very loose fit. If you try pushing it now, and it's a real tight bolt, it's just going to slip. If it keeps on slipping, you're just going to damage the cheap material that you use. I mean, this is not steel, it's not even metal, I don't know what it is, and this one was on the verge of breaking. I think it cost me £40 first time round. So this is my fourth one in my life I've actually I've broken 3 so far. Well, the garage person broke the other one. Pretty much wasn't his fault. So what I'm trying to say is, it's not a tight fit. You can get this, you can put it in here, and then you can try smashing it. But to get proper power, you need to put something like this in front of it, so it's not going to hit the wheel, the alloys. And you just smash it, and you obviously got to give yourself more room, not this much room. You want to give yourself a good 4 foot, and absolutely smash the living top, smack it until it opens up. If it doesn't open up first time round, then this is the only method, which I just told you before it works. You've got to use the jack, and then you've got to push against it. The biggest problem is this: when you put this on, it's actually at not even a 45-degree angle. As a result, you can't push it against this, and because of the curve, it's just going to slip. So that's why I put this against it. So I got the jack to push against this, which pushed against this, and as a result I could stand on it and it wasn't going to slip. Any other way, if you try putting force on it and standing next to it without using the jack, or just using one of these, it will slip. You just don't have the force to push inwards and downwards at the same time. It just doesn't work. You can push downwards but it will slip. So if you push inwards and downwards, it's still not going to work. You can't push enough inwards force at the same time and do downward force. This is your inward force, this, and then you can stand on it and eventually it'll open. As I said, it took me about 2.5 hours. Now I can change my brake pads because I want to sell this car. I can't sell it without changing the brake pads because I'm completely wrong. Yeah, hopefully this helps. So this is the first time I've done some sort of video like this, but I don't think anyone in the world could actually come up with an idea like this. That's why I thought, let me try it out. It's worked and I want to share it with you all.